Hey YouTube. Well, I like to think of this channel as more current events, things that are going on that I find interesting. But there are a couple of television shows that I like to attempt to get involved in every season. It's only, I apologize. I didn't finish Empire because I got sick in the middle of it. The last 3 episodes, so I had to fall out of that. But there's a couple others. Both of the other ones are on OWN. I love Queen Sugar, and I love me some Greenleaf. So last night, Queen Sugar premiered. This is the 3rd season, episode 1. So let's talk about it. There'll be an episode 2 tonight, so we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, it opens up with Charley is jogging, right? Remember, Charley used to live in this loft at Queen Sugar at the mill, connected to the mill or adjacent to the mill. Well, she's apparently moved out of there. Now she's got in this big, beautiful home. Now, this is a big house. In most cities, it would be considered a mansion. But it sits out over land. I can't see any houses near it. So it's a rural house. I don't know if it's on the farm or where it is exactly. But she's living there. Mica comes home. Wait a minute. Yeah, Mica comes home. Mica is a year and a half from going to college. So he's preparing to be in college. So I guess it's called that middle school. But I think he's in a public school now. So he's got to make new friends again. Anyway, next scene we go to, so Mica and Charley are living in this huge house. Now, I don't know why they need a house so big, but they are rich people. The father was a professional athlete, so they have money. Aside from the business, aside from Queen Sugar, they already have money from her settlement with her husband. Okay. Next thing we see is Nova. Now, Nova gets on my nerves in this thing. Her and Ralph Angel have something in common with this stubbornness. Okay, so Nova is in New York City, right? She's meeting with these New York publishers. They want to make a compilation of all of her essays and her papers and make a book out of it, right? They're saying they can create a New York Times bestseller. And they're offering her, because they wanted to put the book together, they're offering her a 6-figure advance. Now, I'm a writer. I'm a frustrated self-published author, right? So it is a struggle when you try to do it by yourself. To have New York City publishers willing to give you $100,000 in advance to write a book that you would probably write anyway, it's pretty big. It's pretty huge. They're saying they can get her on publish her papers in Rolling Stone and in the New York newspapers, and she can travel the world speaking at colleges. So they promised her the Holy Grail, right? As far as writing. And do you know she didn't answer? She seemed excited about everything they were saying, right? And don't ask me why this woman has come all the way to New York City to talk to book publishers if she doesn't want to publish the book. If she don't want to do the deal, why in the hell is she there? So anyway, this is Nova's personality. Remember, she had opportunities before she's walked away from because she wants to stay there. She can't tear away from this little small town where they live. This rural community. To her detriment. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But it looks like she's going to turn this deal down because she doesn't answer them. Blue is missing his mother and starting to pull away from Ralph Angel. Okay, so he's missing his mom. Ralph Angel, he starts the season off with that scowl on his face because he notices that Blue is spending a lot of time with other people. He's not doing what he says. They've always been extremely close. Now, Ralph, even though Ralph Angel gets on my last nerve, because he never seems to be really a happy person. He's just always, intense. He's got a dilemma on his hands. Ralph Angel, we find it out later on the episode, is not Blue's biological father, right? And him and the mother had broken up right before their wedding. They're broken up because he found out that Blue is potentially not his. But now in this episode, we find out that Blue is not his baby. So his dilemma is, he still loves Blue. He would still raise Blue. But Blue is not his biological child. So when the mother comes for the baby, he's got no standing because he's not the biological father. So I can see his frustration. This is a difficult situation because I don't understand how he can be involved with somebody like Darla, because Darla has his past. And unfortunately, much of her past, let's say her tricking, took place right there in town. So every time he encounters somebody who has been with his wife, you know, he goes into this depression and this foul mood because he's reminded of her past. It's quite a dilemma. I don't know how this is going to wind up, but I could not be with no man who's going to be miserable for the rest of his life. So, let's see. Next thing happens is Charley meets with Sam Laundrie, the arch enemy. The Laundries who own every goddamn thing and who sabotaged her business as she was trying to grow up Queen Sugar. He sabotaged the crops being sold to her. Along every part of the road, he was there to obstruct whatever she was trying to do. So now they are going into business together. As far as I can understand, the business is going to be, she is going to sell Queen Sugar to the Laundries. She had her attorneys come up and draw up the contracts, and they worked in one stipulation on this deal. So she's still going to run Queen Sugar, but it's actually going to be run by the Laundries. Now, I don't know if they want everybody to know that they're the actual owners or not, but she's going to work with them, or so she says. She had her attorneys work in a stipulation, and that is that she wants 1%, the lowest percent you can have, 1% of the entire company. So her plan is to take over this company. That's her big plan. But if she can do it 1%, we'll see how the plan unfolds. So she goes there, she meets with him and his son, Jacob, who I think she had a little bit of an affair with. They did something. They've been flirting with each other. Laundrie asked him to leave the room. I guess he don't want nobody to know about the 1%. But she's an actual owner in that company at 1%. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit further down the road. Because she's going to share that information with one person. Okay. And maybe, remember, Laundrie now, he's no fool. So she got a plan for him, and perhaps he's got a plan for them as well. He's going to use her as the figurehead, and and offer the farmers all this great deal and all this kind of stuff, right? But he's a slippery son of a bitch, so we don't know what his plan is. But that's what's going to be the driving force, I think, in this season. That's the most intriguing storyline so far, is this business. Okay, Vi and Hollywood, they just came back from Italy. They went on vacation. Remember, he got all that money, Hollywood. So they're planning to get married. But Hollywood is kind of crowding on Vi. He's overprotective because she has been diagnosed with this, lupus. She doesn't like that. She didn't like him hovering around her like that and treating her like she's gonna break. But they've just gotten back from Italy, and now their big thing is to plan their wedding. So in the beginning of this thing, everybody's all smiles except for Ralph, of course. He's always depressed. But everybody's all smiles. Everybody's all happy, right? This thing reminds me of this. Why there are many times where I'm happy to be single. Because you see all of these relationships, how complicated they can become. When you're by yourself, it's not complicated. Get up, turn the TV on, get your coffee, and that's it. But when these relationships, particularly in this show, the complications. So now everybody is okay. So Nova tells Charley about the big deal, and first she tells Vi, and then she tells Charley. about the big deal in New York City, right? And she's having second thoughts. Now, this is what Hollywood does. I mean, these, whether they're located in Hollywood or not, this is what Hollywood does. It's always got to be, people have got to be resisting everything. This woman has an opportunity to get, they said 6 figures, so that's at least $100,000. And her dream career, and to be a new Maya Angelou. Just her writings are being promoted all over the country and perhaps abroad. And she's having second thoughts. She don't want to leave because the 6th ward or whatever ward they're in. She wants to be independent, but she wants to be a writer. If your career is a writer, then you have to jump at every opportunity because there's not going to be that many opportunities, honey. Anyway, so she tells Charley. Charley tries to encourage her. But in this episode, we do not get her answer. Okay. Next thing is everybody, the whole family, are preparing for this high school ball game. This is something that, I guess it's basketball. High school ball game. They all have been part of these teams through the years. It's a tradition. So, I think, is it a girls' team? Because Nova said she was on the team. Maybe she was a cheerleader on the team or something. Anyway, the whole family's been involved with this high school team forever. They all go there. Several things happen at this game. First thing that's happened is a lot of the kids, the black kids, take a knee. Of course, this is taken out of the news, what was going on with this big story we have. I think they kind of rushed that because on the opening episode, we see the taking of the knee. So it tells us how Queen Sugar operates. They're always going to include whatever's current in the news. They've always done that anyway. So the kids, and then the kids are ejected by security. There's a bit of a scuffle kind of thing, but they did finish the game. Right? Charley is at the concession, and she sees the guy who put a gun in her son's mouth and pulled the trigger. Traumatized Mica. Right? She sees him. I'm not sure how she knows it was him, but there's no scene where Mica sees him. They're all in the same auditorium. He's got a grandchild with him, and he's got another grandchild on the team. But when Charley spots him, at first I don't even know who this guy is. Later on, they show us that she's apparently hired a private investigator or somebody to find him and get dirt on him. They have a video of him beating the hell out of this black child, a teenager. They have a video, and I believe she said, my friend told me she says, run it to the person who gave her the video, right? I wasn't sure, and I watched the thing twice. I watched it last night and this morning, and I didn't hear the part on the phone where she says to run it. In other words, she wants to broadcast this video of this guy abusing severely this black kid. So that's going to be another one of her sub stories. Right. Yeah. She even has a couple of words with this dude. Just, hi, how you doing? They don't recognize who each other are. But this guy, he needs to be taken out anyway if he's doing the kind of things that they're accusing him of doing. Because this boy, Mica, could hardly talk after the situation. All right. Okay, Charley tells Ralph about her plans. Now, Ralph, remember, they're kind of partners because Ralph owns the farm and she owns the business. Or she did own the business. Now she sold the business to Laundry, which I suppose she'll be like an employee of his because she's still going to run the place. And she's going to be the face of Queen Sugar. And I believe that they don't want the farmers to know that he actually owns that company. So, of course, Ralph is concerned about it. He's a farmer, and he's the primary customer for Queen Sugar. So she lays out her plan about how she's going to be gathering. She just wanted to get a foot in the door. That's why she wanted the 1% of the company. She wants to work her way into the company, into their papers, she's going to be investigating the whole time she's there. This is her plan, to take down the laundries and to take over that company. Okay, so she shares it with Ralph. And he seems pleased by it. He didn't, they usually argue about everything. Okay. Okay. All right, Charley and Remy. That's what I'm talking about, these complicated relationships. I don't know what the hell is going on with Charley and Remy. Okay, they were the darlings last season, right? Charley had met this guy, Remy, who was a farmer who had lost his wife. And he's slow to jump into something else, but they eventually start his romance. But he's always the one who blocks all of her ideas and her plans. And she feels that she's, I guess she's smarter than him. And it's her company. But he's always in opposition to pretty much everything she tries to do. So they broke up over it. But there is still energy between them, right? So Charley and Remy are barely speaking as this episode begins. Barely on speaking terms. After the big game, everybody's at this bar, this local bar, and Charley spots Remy from across the floor, right? And they look at each other, and Aunt Vi yells, "Come on over. Clay, what are you doing over there? Remy, come on with the family." But he says, no, I got to stay here with the boys, right? So Aunt Vi is aware that there is something going on between them. Something's wrong. But she tells Charley to get over it. So Charley says, okay, I'll go get him. She goes over there and tries to get him. And he says, no, I'm okay where I'm at, kind of thing, right? But this other guy, Jacob, who is a laundry, she's had some kind of fling. I don't remember from last season what happened, but some kind of fling they've had. They are certainly flirting with each other, right? And he's aware of it. And so he spots Charley talking to him. And that piques, his antennae goes up. But there's no bar fight or anything like that. But you can just see the tension between the three of them. And I'm not clear if Charley even likes this guy, Jacob. He is definitely into her. But it's not clear whether she just wants to manipulate him or if she actually likes him a little bit. I'm sure more will be revealed. Okay. Okay, I already told you guys that Ralph found out about the DNA test. And it turns out, said, don't nothing change. He is so country. Ralph Angel is the most Louisiana of all of them. Where are they at? I keep forgetting what parish they live in, wherever. He is the most, darn it. Let me see. I can't think of what city they're in. Anyway, he's the most country of all of them, though. Don't change nothing. But all his emotions are worn on his face. So we never see him very happy. Next thing we see is, okay, the foreman. The foreman is Mr. Prosper. I believe his name is pronounced Prosper. He is the one who's been helping her run the farm, right? Ralph too, but Ralph was inexperienced. The foreman of the farm was the one who was really doing the heavy lifting there and who knew the business better than anybody else. So he's also helped Charley to understand what happens, how to run a mill and a farm. He has got some health problems. He needs back surgery, which makes sense. He's been lifting all his whole life. He's been doing hard labor farming his whole life. And now his back is going out. He's got to have surgery. So that's kind of where they left it at. Oh yeah, one last thing. This trashy broad. Now, don't come bothering me talking about why'd you gotta be trashy? Why'd you call her a broad? This woman is presenting herself as the village thought. This is how the character is presenting herself, as she is on Ralph Angel's tail. But she's been flirting with everybody else, all the men. She's the one that used to work at the restaurant with Vi. Vi considered her an easy woman. So she approaches Ralph Angel at that game. Later on, he invites her over. She comes over in her little, her little sexy outfit. She's just too sexual. Everything is sex, She's a very flirtatious kind of woman, an easy woman. Ralph is horny. Him and Darla's broken up. This girl knows they broke up, so she tries to make her move. She comes over, last scene, and he greets her. He never smiles at her. He's not even nice to her. But that doesn't dissuade this woman. She's not the type of girl. He said, no, you ain't going in the house. So I guess he drags her around in the back of the house, and the rest is left up to our imaginations. We'll see you again on tomorrow with tonight's episode. Because it's 2 parts. There's 2 parts to the opening. Later.